Okay, so I just got back from my brunch date. This is date number 2 out of the 5 I have lined up. And man, he was gorgeous. He was 6'3". He's been an engineer at Apple for 11 years and 39. He was way out of my league, and he did not ask for my number at the end of it. He was really kind and, paid for brunch and everything I offered. He declined. Like, such a gentleman, perfect guy. And I just know that I won't be hearing from him again. Wah! However, I would not have been able to get a date of his caliber in LA. So no regrets, and I'm still considering moving here.
She was so happy to go on a date with the 6'3" man called Wang that she did not even care if she got rejected.
These women are chasing after Chad, even though they're not in his league. They're fine with being treated like objects by these guys. Even if a woman gets rejected, she's still thrilled just because Chad paid her some attention. It's pathetic. Just take a look at these tweets. Don't waste your time simping for women. They're the ones simping for Chad. These girls have done some crazy things for Chad. They've driven through hurricanes, lied to their families, left their siblings unattended, snuck out at night, had sex in grass fields, kneeled in dog poop, flown across the country, called ex-boyfriends to drive them to new boyfriends' houses, climbed through windows, spent hundreds on Ubers, gotten arrested, climbed fences, contracted STDs, broken into the wrong houses, biked long distances, taken late-night bus trips, walked miles, and even been chased by dogs, all for a chance with Chad. Meanwhile, the average guy struggles to get them to come out for a dinner date, even if he's willing to pay. I once played wingman for Chad, who's a lawyer working on US or Russia oil business contracts in New York City. Every 2 weeks, he'd fly to New York for a week to work with his Russian counterpart. One day, a stewardess offered him a week in Hawaii for just $100 round trip, splitting the cost of a 1-bedroom hotel room at $62 a night. Chad declined because he believed he could find better-looking women in Hawaii to bring back to his room for sex, but he didn't want to do that while the stewardess was there. Another time, Chad was out with a friend of mine, who's in his late 40s but looks much younger. 2 topless dancers, aged 22 and 26, were interested in Chad. At the end of the night, he got both of their numbers. Chad would attend singles events not to find a girlfriend, long-distance relationship, or wife, but to add to his harem. These events attracted women looking for a serious relationship, but Chad was only interested in casual encounters. He'd date or sleep with them a few times, but once they started talking about marriage or kids, he'd ghost them. Despite his good looks, women never questioned why a man like him had never settled down. He simply didn't want to commit when he could have multiple women. Chad and I were supposed to meet at a singles event. He arrived before me, and as I waited to get inside, I saw him through the doorway. My attention was drawn to a woman, around 30 to 32 years old, standing alone in a corner. She was 5'7", wearing a well-fitted light brown business suit that accentuated her slender, in-shape figure. Her outfit was completed with a darker brown purse matching her shoes. She stood out as one of the most attractive women at the event, if not the most. I planned to approach her once inside, but before I could, she confidently walked up to Chad and gave him her name and phone number. I once set Chad up with a woman from my homeowners association. He picked her up, and instead of going out, they went straight to his place for a night of passion. Chad shared this with me afterward, highlighting his magnetic appeal to women. Another time, Chad and I were at a country and western bar when he expressed discomfort at seeing a particular woman. As she walked toward us, it became apparent why. She was 42, 5'8", with flowing blonde hair and an impressive physique. A former Miss Sweden, she had been in TV, radio, and movies, and owned her own advertising company. Despite her beauty and success, Chad had no interest in marrying her. While chatting about his new Ford Explorer purchase, Chad mentioned buying it from a dealership where a female salesperson, around 25 years old, with below-average looks but exceptionally large breasts, worked. She had a hormone imbalance that caused her breasts to produce milk constantly. Chad visited her apartment regularly to help drain her breasts, and she reciprocated by relieving his tension. When I visited the same dealership for my new company car, I saw her as he described her, wearing an oversized shirt to accommodate her unusually large breasts. Chad and I were at a country and western bar when a girl approached me, asking me to dance with her friend. I obliged, and after the dance, I suggested she dance with Chad. When she laid eyes on him, her expression transformed. She grinned widely, tilted her head to the right, and even let her tongue hang out slightly from the right side of her mouth. Her hands were clasped under her chin as she gazed up at him with adoring eyes. It was quite a sight to behold, especially from a 42-year-old woman. This was just one example of how women reacted around Chad. He seemed to have a magnetic effect on them, causing them to lose their composure. Chad got her number, and a few days later they went to his home where he had a hot tub. They both climbed in, but she declined sex that night, suggesting they wait until Thursday. True to her word, they had sex in the hot tub on Thursday night. Interestingly, she was the regional director of Bally's President and First Lady Health Clubs, overseeing cleanliness and maintenance at various clubs across states. For her, this encounter was a one-night stand, and she had no intentions of seeing him again. However, for a man to be worthy of her in her city, he would have to prove himself, unlike the 6-day sex she shared with Chad, all with her hamster's approval. Chad, who was working on oil contracts with a Russian lawyer in New York City, recounted an experience with a 27-year-old blonde woman, average in looks and body. He showed me a photo of her and shared that she stayed with him for the final month before the contracts were signed. Despite their age difference, he was 52 at the time, they only had one bed in his home, leaving little to the imagination about where she slept. This series of encounters served as a reminder not to simp for women, as they often pursued Chad-like figures, demonstrating a different dynamic in their interactions and preferences. And that's it for today on Sigma Traits. Make sure you hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and don't forget to ring that notification bell. Support this channel through membership. You can also support through PayPal, link in the description. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. See you all tomorrow.